What if what you lack isn't courage or clarity or answers, but a gesture, a single gesture, the one that never arrived? The hug you silently waited for, year after year. Not just any hug, but the one that closes the eyes of pain, that seals body to body, that speaks without words. I see you. I recognize you. You are not alone. Silence begins there, when the absence of that gesture becomes routine, when the body grows used to not being held. You keep living, functioning, smiling, but part of you stopped in time. A part of you still sits on the edge of childhood, arms open into emptiness. In a corner of memory there is a room, small, old, heavy furniture and amber light. That's where you waited, for years, for someone to return, for someone to say your name with tenderness, for someone who just once would hold you without rushing. But no one came, and time passed, and you learned how to embrace yourself from the inside. Clumsily, barely, but enough to keep going. The world's narrative pushed you forward. They say growing up is learning not to depend, that love must not be begged, that touch should never be requested. But something in you never fully agreed, because there is an old calling inside the soul, an echo still vibrating after all this time. Will anyone ever hold me the way I've always needed? The body remembers everything, even what it never received. You may have moved on, changed cities, clothes, words, but there's a place in you that remains still, waiting, a place that pulses slower, as if forgotten by the current of life. That's where the absence of the hug lives. Not just memory. A physical imprint, a space between your shoulders, a cold that lingers in the chest, a lightness that feels wrong, like something essential is always about to arrive. You got used to not being touched gently, learned to wear strength like a second skin, to walk tall, respond quickly, smile without surrender. Because to show you need something always felt too risky. But sometimes, in the simplest gesture, resting your forehead on a wall, holding your own hand for a few seconds, the body reveals it still wants, still waits, still dreams of that hug that, even if it never came, still shapes your most intimate need. The world sees you as self-sufficient, but it doesn't know the nights when you curled up just to fit inside yourself. Doesn't know how many times you reached into the dark, knowing no one would be there. And yet, you never give up. Because something in the soul persists. Even wounded, it refuses to stop hoping. If that hug is also missing in you, write in the comments, "There is still a place in me waiting to be held." Sometimes naming the lack is the first step toward being touched, even by words. Inside you there is a child who never grew up, not out of immaturity but because of waiting. That child stayed there, standing, arms open, eyes on the door that never opened. They didn't cry loudly, they simply waited, with the innocent trust of someone who believes true love always returns. But time passed, the handle never turned, and the hug never came. The house where this child lives still exists. You pass by it sometimes, in dreams, in forgotten scents, in the eyes of someone who almost saw you. But you don't go in, because you know that inside lives a pain that doesn't scream, but paralyzes. A pain that feeds on the absence of touch, of presence, of someone who would have said, "I'm here, and you deserve this embrace." While the world applauded your strength, you buried your need. You turned absence into adaptation. You learned to comfort others, to listen without being heard, to give warmth without ever receiving it. And outwardly, everyone admired you. Because they didn't see. Because they didn't feel. Because no one ever asked what it's like to live with arms forever half open, ready for something that never arrived. Today, if you look inward, you might still find that child sitting on the floor hugging their knees, still waiting. Not for a miracle, just for a simple gesture. A touch that says, "I know, I've felt it too." And maybe, just maybe, when you look at them with tenderness, something in you will begin slowly to remember. It's still not too late to be held, even by yourself. There comes a moment when the armor weighs more than the pain it once tried to shield. You feel it when, even surrounded by people, part of you remains far away. When touch reaches you, but doesn't enter. When a hug is given, but your body, always on alert, can't receive it. Because the hug you longed for wasn't just any gesture. It was that hug, the only one, the one that never came, and shaped all others that followed. You smile, speak, work, survive. But something in you stays hardened, as if feeling too deeply were once dangerous, as if opening your arms again meant risking abandonment. The armor became identity, but inside, your body aches. It wants to soften, to surrender, to be held without having to explain, without having to earn it. You know you're not supposed to wait anymore. You're an adult, aware, lucid. But some desires don't follow time. Some forms of waiting take root, invisible, persistent, and grow even when ignored. And maybe what you need now isn't a real hug, but symbolic permission to want one, with truth, without shame, without fear. If you carry this absence too, write, "My arms are still open inside." Sometimes saying you still wait is already a kind of reunion. One day, without ceremony, without an audience, without witnesses, you feel you can't postpone it any longer. The body calls, the soul whispers, and you answer. No one is around, no one approaching, just you. And still, you open your arms, slowly, as if apologizing to your own chest for having waited so long, as if gathering what's left of yourself with the deepest care. You hug yourself, not forcefully, not dramatically. Just place your hands on your shoulders like someone returning home. And there, in that brief and absolute moment, something happens. It's not consolation. It's not healing. It's holding. The rarest kind. The kind that comes from within. The kind that says, "I know what you went through. I waited with you. Now, we can stop waiting." The world outside remains unchanged. The absences are still there. The gesture never came. But inside, there is a new silence. One that doesn't hurt. One that listens. The child you once were sits beside you, and for the first time, isn't alone. You might still hope that one day someone will hold you the way no one ever did. And that's okay. But today you discovered there is a kind of embrace that doesn't depend on another. A hug that comes when you stop denying yourself. A hug that is born when you choose you, even if the world never has. Sometimes the most awaited hug is the one you learn to give yourself. If this video stirred an old memory in you, a silent absence, a gesture never lived, receive it gently. Don't rush to distract yourself. Stay a little longer. Sometimes, what heals the most is simply allowing yourself to feel what was once forgotten. In the comments, leave a trace of yourself. A phrase you once wished to hear. A hug that never came. A name that still echoes in silence. Others will read. And something in you, perhaps for the first time, will feel seen. Share this video with someone who still lives with open arms inside. Subscribe if some part of you is still waiting to be held, even if you've never said it aloud. Here, every absence is met with listening, and every waiting with presence. The hug that never came may begin now in your own hands.